or the coffee diary for the upcoming thing here. So this is the developer's little note to the community about what's been going on with Exanima behind the scenes, and this is the way that the development team contacts the community through Steam official. So this is officially straight from the mouth of the developers and what they've been working on and what we should expect in things to come. So this is Coffee Diary, November 2025. Hey, Exanimates. At this point, we are mainly putting the final layers of polish on the new content. This is mostly material work to make everything look good and cohesive. Making detailed and realistic materials for modern graphics is very difficult, and make sure all the colors are balanced and that all the materials, the dirt, the grime, etc., belong together and their environment is like a giant game of whack-a-mole. Yeah, so he's talking about balancing all the colors for all the new items and zones and stuff and making sure it is all cohesive and it seems correct so nothing looks really weird. Even Matic, who is our main programmer, has been mostly helping with getting art finalized. When Matic gets involved in the art pipeline, there is a lot of finding tool-based solutions to improve results and avoid lots of brute force work. Why fix a problem once when you can fix it forever? And he's talking about how their developer, Matic, is someone that he's making tools to help with this in the future. So while making the game in our own engine, in total, we probably spend more time developing our content and asset creation tools. So they're talking about how like they can go in and make tools to help them do this uh, at a more rapid rate, so they can develop the biomes and develop the art and the environment and uh, the items and stuff and make it more cohesive. They're talking about making tools that they can do that. So when Maddox's been getting involved with that, they're developing these tools. We have our own unique way of doing everything from physics, animation, and AI to rendering with many unique features. Our tools are the backbone that allow us to take advantage of these features and to develop them in the first place. When there's a major advancement in what we're able to do in the game, it usually has more to do with tools than anything else. And so that's talking a little bit about what I was just talking about. It's just like, I watched the development of Star Citizen a lot, and so it's very similar, making the tools to make the assets. So that's the important part. Our tools are extensive and designed around creating instructions for how something is made, so the process can then be rapidly iterated on. Adjusting or improving any step of the process is relatively quick and easy, as well as creating more assets using the same or similar process. We're proud of our tools and how our tiny little team is able to consistently produce cohesive, high quality, original art and content. Exanima has grown to be quite a large game, but mainly it has an enormous amount of carefully crafted stuff in it, which is very true. Our most recent addition to the team, a second programmer, this is the newest addition to their development team, Jiminy, has been almost entirely dedicated to expanding our tools and content creation pipeline. That's amazing to hear. These range from improving on what we can do with the engine features and brand new tools, which will play a major role in how we make content going forward. Some will be used for the content in Exanima 1.0 release, but we are gearing up for what comes after. What comes after the Exanima 1.0 release? Hype! Okay, we typically avoid showing any new content before release, but we'll make a small exception with screenshots of one of our assets to illustrate our art pipeline. Beyond some low poly modeling work, this was created entirely within our tools and uses our newest features, also in terms of rendering. Okay. Everything down to the brickwork and the roof tiles is created entirely from scratch, giving us complete artistic control. The asset is part of a highly modular kit bash, meaning we carefully make many individual elements, e.g. the segments at the arch, which combine with many of the ways in which this stuff the numerous different assets that still look well integrated and varied. While using fewer resources, we aim to certain levels of qualities and immersive visuals that contribute to the game's atmosphere, while using approaches that are very performance friendly to keep everything running well, even on low-end hardware like my shitty-ass computer. So here is an asset that they have made that they have been able to put together with, no, this is absolutely new right here. Big reading comprehension. You guys are goofy. So yeah, no, this is a new asset somewhere that we haven't been before. And here is a detail of the roof tiles, which shows the kind of thing we're going to generate using procedural methods in our tools. So to me, that understanding of how that looks like to me is what they did with this is they're like they took a polygonal shape that looks like a triangle that is in an elongated triangle, and they're like, and then they took a thing like if you were to paint it, and they just went click, and they painted it, and it proceeded to generate this roof tile. So it looks like they're like, oh, and instead of like going in and like handcrafting and painting all this stuff, they're like click, and it did all of it. That's what they're talking about here. And he's like, in our last diary, we mentioned we were overhauling our 3D grass. The main goal was for the grass system to support our not just grass, but also small plants and dense undergrowth. And this is for outside areas, not just crossroads, but see, look, here's a new area that we have never seen before, and this I'm thinking would be part of Sweet Genesis. Just grass, but also small plants and dense undergrowth. As this would be more scalable and efficient in terms of performance and especially in terms of level design. We've made a large number of all new grasses, plants, and flowers, more detailed and much higher quality than our previous assets. To make convincing 3D plans, we also had to use more advanced rendering methods, and there were a number of difficult problems to solve with this. We're using dense grass in environments with lots of light and high contrast lighting, making grass not look flat or polygonal, while preserving lighting detail is difficult. While preserving lighting detail is difficult, and performance is concerned when so much of the screen is covered in layers of grass being lit by many lights. So like for instance, this is like you have global illumination, you have like a solar thing, then you also have like reflections off of these things that are behind it. So these plants are looking weird because they have many different lights on them, and they're having to tweak that sort of stuff. So we're using dense grass environment. Where was I? I didn't highlight my spot where I stopped. Indeed, our previous grass was heavily reliant on shadows for any depth, which are not always possible. Another common and difficult 3D graphics problem is blending. The grass in our game is small, therefore thin, and we really wanted to avoid pixelated or fuzzy look on this often produces, so we needed some clever solutions. It took a lot of fixing, tweaking, and adjusting to finally get everything working and looking how we wanted. And once again, added some features to our assets creation tool, which is critical to getting it right. Okay, so they added a new tool to get this right. We solved all the problems we mentioned and developed some fancy custom shading that also highly optimized. It looks great even on lower settings and blends perfectly with the ground and all its variation. Here's an example of dense undergrowth to fill more vegetation, heavy areas. We can now quickly paint this in with a brush, and it will dynamically adapt to change in the terrain it is edited or modified. That is so cool. This outside place, does it look like a garden? Would you say that looks like a garden? Here is a large amount of grass showing the variation in how it adapts to the blend with the ground. That's cool. Let's take a closer look. Can't take a closer look. While the ground is not intended for such close-up viewing, this zoned-in shot shows the lighting detail included specularity and its translucency, it looks convincingly 3D, even under high contrast lighting. He's talking about this grass right here, which I gotta admit, that grass does look really good. I don't like this little thing right here, but the rest of the grass looks good. You think it looks like Sweet Genesis? I think this looks like The Garden, which is the new zone that they're about to launch. That's what I'm saying. All right. Okay, here we go. 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 This is what we want to hear. As well as a new NPC thaumaturge in this update. We're adding 4 new non-human encounters. The most we've added at once until now was 2. And adding new creature types requires a lot of rigging, animation work, careful tweaking of physics, combat AI, sound design, etc. So far, we've been developing this feature to support each new creature and its unique physical and other behaviors as needed, and the result is a lot of custom hard-coded rules and systems. With 4 new character types added now, and more on the way, this is becoming cumbersome. But importantly, this hard-coded system has been a big problem for the modders who like to add as many modified versions of them as possible. Modders have been very limited in this regard, and when we add new creatures, it takes away valuable slots they rely on and undoes their work. They've asked and we've promised modders a better system some time ago, so we've decided it was finally time to add it. We developed a proper race system which allows adding virtually unlimited character types featuring a massive number of properties and parameters for their appearance, physical properties, animations behaviors, AI, sound and voice effects, stats, locational resistances, equipment use, blood effects, and generally how they interact with every game system. On the back of this, we've made various improvements to some of the underlying mechanics and tools. We are now able to make adjustments to physical and animation in real time to immediately see the effects in-game, which really improves our workflow. The biggest change we've made, though, is how character motions are managed. The new system can create custom motion sets on the fly based on race parameters, equipment, skills, and combat styles, and effects like special properties on items, powers, etc. Motion sets are mixed and matched dynamically, allowing all these conditions to provide highly specific overrides while also finding some appropriate fallbacks if a motion for a specific combination is not provided. So I guess that means, like, if I go to swing and there's something blocking my thing, I have a fallback parameter to do with my weapon, right? Yeah. I got spiders in my internet tubes. What are you talking about? One second, guys. Already with these new except okay, no. Where was I? Okay, yeah, right here. For not provided, which is also great for modders. We've been wanting this sort of functionality for a long time, but understanding all the requirements and that are mechanics for the data-driven systems was a difficult problem. This is also the perfect foundation for changing motions for different weapon grips and even layering motions to support things like performing actions while running or dynamically changing stances. In general, we've been trying to work more closely with modders recently, and we've been putting a lot of work into developing polished, user-friendly visual interfaces for all our tools, as well as versatile systems to eventually pass on to them. We hope to begin releasing some of these soon, and we're quite excited to see what the modding community comes up with. Already with these new systems, we expect there will There's a whole lot be able to add to. They'll be able to do, excuse me. We're a little restricted with the relatively serious and realistic tone of the game. Oh, I don't like that. Developers that feel restricted, we're a little restricted with the relatively serious and realistic tone of the game, but modders can be more daring and tend to push the limits of what the game can do, and that's awesome. And that's why we have Hell Mode. We do mention our tools from time to time, but only briefly and usually without specifics. We realize it's not many gamers get excited about. You just want more content, NAO. And the amount of effect we put into the back end, seemingly small additions to the game might seem insane, but while Exanima might be close to its 1.0 release, we're only just getting started. And there is so much more we plan to do with these systems and tools. We're in it for the long haul and to create something special. We know the long development cycles can be frustrating, but we're still here, as dedicated as ever, and we will continue to deliver more and better game. The 1.0 release is ultimately an arbitrary milestone. That is amazing to hear. That is great to hear. That means they're going to come up with a 1.0 and then they're going to continue to work on it. That's great. All right. Thank you, devs. Sincerely, what did it say? Sincerely, Bare Metal. Thank you very much, Bare Metal, for your